Wouldn't it be cool to create your own bedtime story for your kids? So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can do that using AI, art, and ChatGPT. My name is Palle. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel about AI. So a few days ago, I made a video where I asked ChatGPT to create a story for my 6-year-old son. So if you haven't watched that video, the story starts like this. Once upon a time, in a magical land filled with trains and tracks, there was a very special train called Thomas. Thomas was a small blue train with a big heart, and he loved to go on adventures with his friends. So that was created by ChatGPT. So the prompt I used was write a story for my 6-year-old son. He loves trains, and his favorite train is called Thomas and is in a TV show. Usually my son falls asleep in 5 minutes, so that's the length the story needs to be in. So the AI doesn't really have a concept of time. So the last part of my request couldn't really be fulfilled because I wasn't being specific enough. So what I did here is that I went back to ChatGPT and said like, hello, 2 days ago we had this conversation. And ChatGPT replied, that's a lovely story for a young train enthusiast. Do you have any other requests or questions? So what I wanted to do was I wanted to take this train story and then make some images for it. So I could like create a small children's book based on that. So I said, yes, I would love if you could make 10 example prompts for Midjourney version 5 in AR4 format that would encapsulate the story. So I made a few mistakes there. So ChatGPT doesn't really know what the prompts for Midjourney are unless I kind of tell it what it is. So what came out was the output of my input. So it said like, sure, here takes 10 example prompts for Midjourney version 5 in AR4 format. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to go through these 10 example prompts. We're going to put them into the Bing AI image creator, and we're going to put them into Midjourney. And then we'll discuss the prompt, and we're going to discuss what Bing did and what Midjourney did, so who did the best job there. So the first suggestion by ChatGPT was, as Thomas chugged down the tracks, he suddenly noticed a group of animals who looked lost and sad. What did Thomas do to help them find a new home? So we see Bing kind of encapsulates the first part of this. So it's chugging down the track, there's a group of animals. So Bing did a pretty decent job here with putting animals on the track, and we have Thomas the train there. When we look at Midjourney, then Midjourney was a little bit more confused. We have a few animals, and the trains look a little bit more like Thomas the train, but it's not that clear. So based on the prompt, I think Bing got the closest to what we wanted. So if we look again at what ChatGPT did, was that it chugged, so Thomas is on the tracks, he noticed a group of animals who look lost and sad. So that part is like easy to understand. I could maybe draw something like that. The second part of the thing that ChatGPT wrote was, what did Thomas do to help them find a new home? That's an intangible. So we don't really know what that means, and how do we like do that in an image. We can say that ChatGPT is a little bit wrong there, and we will see that it was kind of wrong there in every single answer here. So actually it's our responsibility to go back and say, oh, hey, ChatGPT, we need to be more specific with what is happening. So actually what ChatGPT did was that it kind of created a new story, and we can't really use question marks when we ask for images. So the second image, after traveling for hours, Thomas and his friends arrived at a dark and spooky tunnel. Ooh, and we can see that Bing did a very good job of making it dark and spooky. Midjourney, not so dark and spooky, a little bit more happy, and it's like trains in a tunnel. So if dark and spooky is what we wanted, then Bing did the best job here. So The second part of the question from ChatGPT, I won't go through all of those in the next 8 examples, is what did they do to overcome their fears and continue on their journey? So how would you picture that? That's very hard. So at some point the AI might be able to figure that out, but at the moment, yeah, we need to skip that part. We need to be looking at the input and the output. So number 3, during their adventure, Thomas and his friends stumbled upon a mysterious map that led them to a hidden treasure. What did they find? So here again, we didn't input that it was Thomas the train. And then it can be a little bit confusing. So you see Bing doesn't have Thomas the train inside anymore. Midjourney did have something that looks like Thomas the train in 3 pictures. So we need to be more specific and add like it's actually Thomas the train we're talking about there. I still think it's pretty good that it kind of like got that it was Thomas the train, even though we only put the name Thomas inside. One day Thomas and his friends came across a broken bridge and that blocked their path. So we see here that Bing did a very good job in understanding that like the bridge is broken and someone needs to be repairing it. In the Midjourney, it was a little bit off there. So we didn't really get the result there that we want. There was one image of where they are like building new tracks. The 5th one, as they traveled through a lush forest, Thomas and his friends encountered a mischievous group of monkeys who had taken over the tracks. And here I think Midjourney did the best job in putting monkeys on the track that's like blocking it. Bing did a okay job too here. The thing is that we were not specific enough to explain that it's Thomas the train again. In the 6th one, when a sudden rainstorm flooded the tracks, Thomas and his friend had to find a new route. Here we see that definitely in the Bing images, the tracks are flooded and we can see that there's like, the trains are even not on the tracks anymore. Where when we look at the Midjourney ones, it's a little bit more like cozy, like sun is still shining, there's water on the tracks, but not really a big problem. So here I think like definitely Bing got this point too. As they neared the end of their journey, Tom and his friends realized they had accidentally boarded the wrong train. So, like Thomas is a train, and then he boarded the wrong train. I think ChatGPT was a little bit wrong here, or maybe the problem is here. It's like what we call an error 40. So my input for what I wanted ChatGPT to do wasn't good enough. Still, I think both of them like did okay here. I think Midjourney did the best by putting the trains at a train station. The next one is during a rest stop, Thomas and his friends met a friendly owl who offered to show them a shortcut. So I think that's pretty good, both of them. Like the imagery, again, we didn't mention that it was Thomas the train. The 9th example, as they passed through a bustling city, Thomas and his friends noticed some of the buildings were on fire. So definitely, when we look at the Bing images, the city is on fire. When we look at the images from Midjourney, then the city is not on fire. It's like there's smoke coming out of the chimneys of the trains, and that's about it. So here again, when we look at these prompts, we need to be more specific. So like there's a city, Thomas the train is in a city. The city is on fire. Thomas has a water cannon on top of his train and is like putting out the flames. Some of Thomas' train friends are firefighting trains that are putting out the fire. So we need to be more specific in that way. It's too vague. The last one, number 10, at the end of the journey, Thomas and his friends arrived at a beautiful beach where they could relax and play. I think like both AI did a pretty good job there. And then Thomas the train is telling a bedtime story. I think both of them did a very good job there. If you like the video, give the video a like, subscribe to our channel. So my point with this thing, not besides not making it super complicated, was showing that if we are not providing the correct input, then we don't get the output. We can't be too vague. If we want to create images for instance, a bedtime story for our son, or we want to create a children's book, we need to be more specific and not vague. We need to explain that the city is on fire. There's maybe a Thomas and his friend that's a fire train is putting out the flame. So we need to be more specific. The same goes back to when we're using ChatGPT to create these prompts. We need to ask ChatGPT to write it in a certain language so that the AI art generators can understand it. There's a new version of Midjourney version 5 that's 5.1 that's creating a little bit better images. So this is going so fast, so this is not static, this is just an idea. If you want to watch the video of how we made a helicopter coming out of a picture in 3D, there's a link to that up here. If you want to watch the video where I was talking about and reading the entire story about Thomas the Train, there's a link to that video up there. Also, I hope this gave like some inspiration. If you have any comments, feedbacks on how to make these videos better, always welcome in the comments below.